Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be telling you guys my all-natural, at-home, accidental birth story. And I have him here with me because he actually delivered her. And yeah, so let's tell the birth story. If I'm remembering right, it started on December 30th, and we went to IKEA because we were buying this new house, so we were buying a bunch of stuff for the place. And I remember on the drive home having contractions and just like realizing that they were kind of different. And then all day the next day, which was December 31st, it was going to be New Year's that night at 12 a.m. I was just having all of these weird contractions, like it was like 5 minutes apart.
I don't know. That's what they said at the hospital.
I know, but during the day, I think they were like 5 to 6 minutes apart, and then sometimes 10 minutes apart. But eventually, probably like 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah, it's pretty close.
I just felt like my body was like changing in the downward area. So we went to the hospital, the ER, and the nurse was actually like really rude, telling me that, you know, it wasn't labor and all this stuff. And I was 3 centimeters and 75 or 80% effaced, and my contractions were 3 to 5 minutes apart. But since I was talking through my contractions and didn't look like I was in pain, they thought that it would take hours to actually start the actual like labor process. My actual midwife came in, and she was nice, way nicer than the nurse that was helping us almost the whole time. I think from what the nurse told her, that's why she thought it wasn't that serious, and she kind of just said, well, you need to get rest anyways before it starts, and you know, the hospital's not comfortable, you have your son here with you, and all this stuff. So she gave me a sleeping pill, which was safe because...
An Ambien.
Yeah.
Not just the normal sleeping pill.
Oh my god. But, and people are going to be like, oh, that's not safe, but it is safe when you're like, you know, a week away from your due date. It was completely fine, or else she would not have prescribed that to me. What?
It wasn't fine to give you during contractions.
Oh, not during contractions. I'm saying,
why.
but it wasn't going to give her, like...
No, it wasn't going to affect the baby.
Yeah, that's what people think it does, though. Ambien
no.
is a very strong sleeping pill.
No.
And it's like something that people can get addicted to, so it's pretty serious. Yeah, so she gave me an Ambien, and she said, go home, take this, get some rest. I know like pre-labor contractions are uncomfortable, so I'll give you this to kind of help you out. And then we drive home, and Joey was just kind of annoyed, I felt like. Because it turned 12 o'clock in the hospital, and like all the nurses were out there like, woo, and me, Mason, and Joey were just sitting in the hospital like with a rude nurse helping us, and we were just like all mad.
They were counting down the new year as you were in a massive amount of pain. That's why
it wasn't massive.
Okay,
it was not massive.
You didn't show it, but you were
actively
contracting.
Yeah, I know, but I honestly didn't feel like, it wasn't like how it was with Mason when I had Pitocin. It wasn't at all.
But still, they were counting it down.
Yeah, and the nurse was just rude. I think that's what really like got us both annoyed, like how rude she was. She was just asking me like, are you dehydrated? Well, that's probably why. I'm like, I'm 38 weeks pregnant, and they're 3 to 5 minutes apart. I think this is pretty much the real deal. It's not like I'm 28 weeks coming in here, you know, being a hypochondriac. Like I was sure. And then so my midwife sends us home after the new year. It was probably like 1:30 or something. I went home, and I remember I was like nesting. I was like getting in the shower. I took a shower. It was almost like 2 in the morning, and Joey's like, just go to bed. I'm like, but if she comes tomorrow, I just want to be clean. I don't want to be disgusting and all this stuff. And I was like cleaning up our bedroom a little bit, and yeah, I got out of the shower, I took the pill, and I started just reading my book a little bit, because that's what I used to do every night before bed. And I think I dozed off, and I laid down at 2, and
It was like 1:30.
No.
That we actually laid down.
No, because I remember I laid down at 2 because I showered. You laid down earlier than me, but you weren't sleeping, you were watching TV. And then I laid down with my book and it was 2, and I probably passed out at like 2:08 to 2:10. And then I remember waking up at 2:20 in the morning because my sleeping pill had kicked in, so I dozed off for like, what is that, like
20 minutes?
Yeah, not even. But yeah, so it was from 2:08 I dozed off because it hit me, and then 2:20 I woke up and I was like, what the heck, I just fell asleep a little bit, and I felt like I had been sleeping for a long time kind of, but my water like broke, and it was like not even like, oh, it broke, it was like it splattered out like insane, and like I heard it pop. It was the weirdest thing ever, and I just remember being in so much pain that I couldn't think straight, and I was thinking like, I can't sit in the car like this. There's no way I could sit in the car like this. I don't know what's going on, and I just thought I was going to hitting like active labor when it's 4 centimeters on. So that's what I thought it was. I thought I had just hit 4, and so that's when, like, you know, a lot of the pain starts, the actual pain. So that's what I thought was going on. I was like, I can't do this. Like, I can't sit in the car like this. And then you tell part of it too, because I feel like you remember what I did when I woke up.
Okay, so I was laying on the bed, and the first thing I remember is her on the toilet. She was on the toilet for a while.
Well, what happened when I said my water broke? You woke up.
Yeah, you were on the bed still.
Yeah.
Right? So yeah, she said her water broke, and I was still pretty groggy because I was just going into a deeper sleep when she told me. But the first thing I remembered seeing was her on the toilet in some pretty amazing positions, and she was just telling me,
What was I doing?
you were just like squatted. It just didn't look natural for a toilet, you know.
What was I doing?
Well, I don't want them to get the wrong idea, like look like you were taking a dump on the toilet, because it didn't look like that. You would look like this almost.
Oh,
like
because I was in
bent
so
all
much
the way
pain.
over, yeah. And she was just telling me how much pain she was in.
Yeah.
And then I remember saying, okay, well, we're gonna go to the hospital. Let's get our
gotta
stuff
call
ready.
my friend Sarah.
Yeah. So I was trying to get a hold of the person who was going to come watch Mason, and then I was telling her that we were going to go to the hospital, and she was saying, no, we're not. You were like, I can't drive. I can't make it. And then...
And I didn't know that I was going to give birth. I just was thinking, I was like, I can't sit in the car like this. Like, and I remember getting up from the toilet to go lay down. Remember, I was going back and forth from laying down to the toilet because I didn't know what to do. I was like, do I lay down in pain? Do I sit on the toilet in pain? Because I felt like I was gonna poop, and I thought, you know, this is a pre-labor poop. So, and it was just, I was shaking, sweating, like I couldn't concentrate. It was, remember, I was just like trembling.
You couldn't even talk that well.
And remember, you're like, what's your friend's name? And I was like, I don't know. I don't know what her name is.
Oh yeah, I had to ask you like 12 times for her number too, right?
Yeah, I just didn't know. I was in so much pain. It was, but you explained it to me like I was very, like...
You were quiet.
Monotone throughout the whole thing, to where I was just
quiet,
like, it hurt so bad. Like,
there was like no screaming or no crying. It was just like a focused, quiet monotone, I guess.
And yeah, I just remember leaning over on the bed at one point. I was telling him, like, Joey, I can't go. Like, I can't go there. And I was just like, it hurt so bad. Like, literally in the voice I'm speaking in right now. Because I was just so in the zone, I guess.
And then at some point during this interaction, I didn't get a hold of Sarah yet. I don't know if you didn't give me the number or what happened.
She didn't answer.
She didn't answer the first time?
No, but then you called again before it actually happened. And you were telling her, just take your time, my water just broke.
Oh, yeah. Because I was thinking about Mason and how long it took between your water breaking with him and then you actually...
And
I mean, it
I
was
think
like
he
12
just thought
hours.
I was in all this pain, and he's like, oh, she just hit
Well,
4
no,
centimeters.
because... No. I knew you were in a lot of pain, but I didn't think what was about to happen was going to happen at all until you said one phrase to me, and you said, she's coming.
And wasn't that after you just hung up the phone with her?
I can't remember.
I was telling him how much it hurt, and then he finally got a hold of her, and he walked out of the room into the hallway. And then I went back to the toilet, And I remember like my stomach was just contracting and I was just pushing naturally. Like it was something that I couldn't stop. It was just natural pushes. Like my body was just like pushing her out without me even having to try. And then I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm gonna poop right now. And then I was like, this is not a poop. This is serious. So I feel down there and I feel her head sticking out. And I was like, I can't have her in the toilet. So I like walk over to the bed. I think I just like slipped my underwear off super fast that were like around my ankles because I was sitting on the toilet, and I walked over to the bed holding her head in, and then as I was like getting on top of the bed, Joey had walked in back into the room after hanging up the phone, and I was just like, she's coming. And he's just like, what were you thinking at that time?
When she first said it, if I remember right, I was thinking that she was full of crap. Yeah, I was like, no, she's not coming. She's just in a lot of pain. We just got to get to the hospital. I was so focused on getting to the hospital because I did not that I didn't want to deliver her, because I wasn't even thinking that at the time. I didn't think that was a possibility. But I was like, we just need to get to the hospital so that she could be around doctors, you know, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but you're telling my friend, take your time.
Yeah, I know, but that was after, or I mean before.
So you thought I was full of crap? You never told me that?
No. Not like, oh, she's just blowing off the pain and she doesn't really feel that much. Not like that, but I was just thinking how you
like
had...
Like it's impossible type of thing, like there's no way.
You had pain meds with the first one, so there's no way to know how much pain it really feels like leading up to that.
Yeah.
So I didn't think that... I knew you were in a lot of pain, obviously, because she has a high pain tolerance, so when she tells me it hurts, I know that it hurts, but I just didn't think you were, you know, serious about the baby coming right now. But then what happened? Go ahead.
And then when I told him she's coming, I was still like on the side of the bed kind of holding her head in, and I just got onto the bed on my hands and knees and I started pushing her out.
Yeah.
And he was just like, I don't remember what he was doing, but I was...
Me? You weren't even looking at me.
I know, but I don't even remember like what you said or anything.
I don't remember either. From what I remember... Okay, so I remember a few of the details. Like, I remember her actually walking onto the bed and then getting into position. Some may call it the doggy style position, but she got into position. I just remember coming around the bed, and that's when I knew the baby was coming, because I could already see the head. I could see the hair.
Really?
Yeah, right away.
Like how much was showing?
A good amount, probably like, I don't know.
Really?
That much at the top of the head.
So she was gonna fall out in the toilet if I didn't walk to the bed.
Yeah. Well, her shoulders might have gotten caught. But I remember walking over there, and then everything else seems kind of surreal, like it happened really fast. I have a few mental pictures that I remember about the actual delivery. But it all happened really quick.
He goes to counseling now 3 days a week.
But from the time I walked over till the time you pushed her out, it was probably a matter of minutes. Like, I don't know how, because when you're in that kind of moment, you can't tell time, right? So I don't know, but it felt like a couple minutes at most. Honestly, thinking back, it felt like a couple seconds, but I know it was longer than that.
Yeah, I thought I pushed her twice and she was out, but you told me it was like 5.
No, it was probably like 3 to 5 times. I can't remember, but I just remember the head came out, and then I kind of reached underneath to support her head, because her head was just like, you know, yeah.
Was she facing like my back, where my back was, or facing down?
Yeah, she was starting to turn.
So when you first saw her eyes, was she facing you?
I don't remember.
Or did she? And then did she turn?
What's a normal birth?
Face you? I don't know. I don't know which way they turn.
I don't know, but when I reached in to support the head, I could feel the shoulders on my fingertips, and I was supporting her head, and a couple more pushes later, she came out. But as soon as the shoulders passed, it was literally half a second. Like,
so how did you
have
grab
time
her?
to react.
How did you grab her from such a weird position? Because I was on my hands and knees. So like, how did you grab?
I literally caught her. Like,
but you were supporting her head, and then did you like move it like this?
Yeah,
like,
I grabbed her like
a football
this.
type.
No, well, I was on so they say to do that like a football.
Yeah.
And that's like all I remember from EMT school about delivering a baby. But I was already supporting her head, so when the rest came out, I kind of had to slide my arm underneath. But it was quick. Like, it wasn't all gentle. I'm sure there was some violent movements in there because it was half a second.
And it was a
right
weird
after
position.
her
It
shoulders
wasn't like I was laying down.
Yeah, it was so quick. As soon as the shoulders were out, the rest of her slid out. Literally.
Yeah.
Anyway, after she was delivered, I was holding her. She wasn't crying, and then I go to I go to hand her to Cheyenne. She's got the umbilical cord, and at first I'm coming around the outside, like, here's your baby. And I realized that the umbilical cord would not allow that to happen, so we had to go under the legs.
No, but I thought you weren't giving her to me. You told me that I grabbed her from you, like I twisted around my umbilical cord to sit on my butt and like grabbed her or something.
No, you weren't listening to me because you were just so.
I wanted to hold her.
It was like adrenaline rush, I guess, but no, I tried to bring her around the side and it wasn't working. So I was like, "Hey, we got to go underneath your legs," because I think you tried to start laying down, and I was like, "No, don't do that yet." And then we went under your legs. You like grabbed her.
Yeah, you told me like, careful of the umbilical cord as I was.
Yeah, you were just
fine.
grabbing her. And then you just laid on your back
and we did skin to skin, and then I told him, I remember, grab towels and blankets to keep her warm. Yeah. And so we did that, and then he called 911. But I also remember when I was pushing that you were telling me like he was telling me like what he could see, as if he was like a doctor. He's like, I could see the head. Okay, I could see the eyes. And he's like, you got this, baby. You got this.
I was
You're doing a good job.
calm.
You're doing a good job. And so that like helped, because I thought that he was gonna freak out. I thought it was gonna be like a one-man team.
Because with Mason, I refused to go anywhere past the head. I just stayed at the head with her, and I started to get.
Oh yeah, he got pale. He was gonna. And
with Mason,
he kept saying he had to go to the bathroom and poop. During when I was pushing, I was like, "You're gonna go poop, okay?"
No, I didn't say that.
No, you said I have to go poop in front of all the doctors and everyone. And then he said again, came back and said, I have to go wash my face. I feel like needles are piercing through my skin. And I was like, okay.
It was very nerve-wracking being a supporter of the delivery at the head.
And the whole time he was like,
I found comfort in petting her head. But this was during Mason's. Eva's obviously completely different story.
Yeah.
After we got the blankets and towels, I called 911. I tied her umbilical cord with a shoelace. Do we still have that shoelace?
I don't think so. I think they threw it away.
So we tied the umbilical cord with a shoelace, or I did. The paramedics got there. They were, I guess they were professional, but they just really, they were kind of careless. Like,
yeah, they took the blankets off of her and left her naked on me like the whole time.
Yeah.
And then we went to the hospital and she was super cold because of that.
Well, it was also because, so after this happened, Sarah had came, I think, before the paramedics.
Yeah, but first I want to talk about my placenta and stuff and the guys' faces. So when I was like laying there, mind you, it was messy. There was blood everywhere.
It wasn't blood. There was some blood
from
the
just
placenta,
birth juice.
But yes, it was
everywhere.
Mainly amniotic
My umbilical
fluid.
cord was like 10 feet long, just hanging out all over the bed.
Yeah.
She's still attached to me. I'm holding her. And like, I was confused. I remember thinking like, okay, she's here now and we're just going to stay at home, relax, like breastfeed. I did not think that you needed to go to the hospital. I don't know why, but I didn't think you needed to. Because I thought, people do it at home all the time. Like, it'll be fine. And so Joey calls 911 and I thought he was just asking for like medical advice. about what to do. And then like I remember I was kind of blindsided, like the door just opens like 10, not 10, but like
2?
How many? No, there was like 4.
No, there was 2. And there was 3, but 2 went inside the room, 1 stayed outside.
Okay, so there was like 3 guys just walk in. I am butt naked, like with only a sports bra on, with blood everywhere, like just laying there with the baby.
Yeah.
And they were just like, "Hi guys." I was just like at the time I didn't care, but looking back, I'm like, that's so embarrassing. Like,
yeah.
You know, you think a doctor's gonna see you in that state.
Oh,
but
let me. So they came in, they did an actual umbilical cord clamp, cut it.
Yeah.
And then they started preparing her to leave. But when they stood her up, the umbilical cord was cut, and it was still...
No, but you're missing a part.
What part?
You're missing a part. Okay, so I'm laying there, and there's like blood everywhere. It's so embarrassing, blah, blah, blah. And the guy comes in, and he's like, "Okay, let's get you..." What words did he use? He's like, "Let's get you..." What is it called when you like need to get dressed?
I don't know.
Okay, I don't know. He's like, "Let's get you dressed and presentable. Let's get you kind of presentable." I was just like, okay. And he's like, "Do you have any sweatpants?" So they try to put sweatpants on me when my umbilical cord is hanging and like everything's like wet and all this stuff. And they're like laying down and they're trying to slide on these nice Hollister sweatpants.
Yeah.
As I'm still bleeding and all this stuff. And I told him, I'm like, "Guys, sweatpants isn't going to work. I can need a skirt or something because this isn't working. It's not going to like slide up all nice. Like, where's the cord going to go? I don't understand." And then he's like, "Oh, yeah, no, you're right. Do you have a robe?" And so Joey goes and grabs my pure white robe. And so I stand up and my placenta's falling out. And since he told me, "When you stand up, tell me if your placenta falls out." So they're all talking and I'm like, I see the placenta falling on the floor like pieces. And I was like...
Parts of it, not...
Yeah, I know, but parts of it. And I had to interrupt their conversation. I was like, "Hi. My placenta just fell on the floor." And then he comes up with back. He's like, "Okay, I'll get that for you." And he shoves it in this plastic bag. And then I'm standing there and I'm like holding Eva because we're going to walk downstairs and get into the truck. So I'm standing there holding her and I realize like my cord's just dragging on the ground. I'm going to like trip and fall. So I asked the guy, I'm like, "My cord is just dragging. Like, can we do something?" And so he tied my cord around my leg and then taped it to my leg. And so I'm just walking down the stairs, like placenta falling, and the cord is like wrapped around my leg, like taped down it. It was just like the weird, and my robe was like knee length, so you could definitely see the cord like taped to my ankles. It was just like so weird, but yeah. I just walked downstairs holding Eva, like.
But then the reason why she was so cold, Sarah got there and I was talking to her, telling her where everything was and everything.
Yeah, because Mason was sleeping.
Yeah, so Mason was sleeping. I was giving Sarah the rundown. And when I went out to the garage, I was expecting you guys to be already at the hospital, you know, and I was going to drive there. But the ambulance was still there and you guys were still outside. You guys have been standing outside forever with a newborn baby.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you guys were outside for a while. You went down the stairs, went into the garage, which was open because that's how I let him in.
What were they doing?
I don't know.
Didn't they set us on the stretcher? Were they like preparing their vehicle or something?
I have no idea.
That's what I thought they were probably doing. Maybe they were waiting for you to come outside.
No, they didn't ask me nothing. I had to ask them.
Because they need to know what hospital, or whatever, and follow them.
I asked them. I was like, "Why are you guys still here?"
What did they say?
I don't remember. But that's why she was so cold. She was on the warming table forever. Oh, and I remember you were shaking forever. Like, she was fine talking to me, a little bit out of it, but her whole body was shaking. All of it. And she couldn't stop.
And he's like, he asked the doctor's office, he's like, "Why is she shaking?" And they're like, "It's normal, it's her adrenaline." And I remember I was just like... like shaking, laying in the bed uncontrollably.
And then I remember how hard they were trying to pull your placenta out.
Yeah, she had her leg up on the table, pulling it out, and I was trying to push, push it out. But like I was so contracting so weird at that point. It wasn't right after the baby.
Yeah.
You know, like, so I couldn't find my groove really, and all I remember was it was hurting. Like, it felt like I had another baby inside my stomach, and while we were on our way to the hospital, I remember asking the guy, I'm like, is it, like, could I have another baby, like, in there or something? Like, I don't know what's going on. He's like, no, it's just your placenta. And I was like, okay, like, good. But we get there, and it's still, my placenta's still hurting. She's cold, and her sugar levels were low, right?
Yeah, and she needed a bottle.
Yeah, and I was like, can I breastfeed her? And the lady was like, no, because it takes so long for your milk to actually come out, and she needs food right now because her levels are so low, and it'll like kind of warm her up and stuff like that. And so she gave her a little bit of donor milk, and she drank that, and then after she drank that and she could come off the warming table, I breastfed, and we had like no trouble breastfeeding at all, which I was nervous about at first, but it was fine. And I just remember them pulling out the placenta, or pulling on it, and then finally I did a good push and it came out by itself without her freaking pulling on it that hard. It hurt when she was doing that. And then, yeah, they just brought us to a room, and that was pretty much that, right?
Yeah, we were only there for like another day.
Yeah.
I think one day, and then we left.
No. We had to stay 3 because when they're accidental at home, remember, we had to stay longer.
That was an extra day though. So I think we stayed there 2 days. 3 nights because the first night.
Yeah. And when Eva came out, she wasn't crying, and I remember Joey was kind of alarmed by it, but she was just such a calm baby. Like, I was not alarmed by it at all because I knew she was fine because I was doing skin to skin with her and I could feel her breathing, and she didn't sound like she had anything stuck at all. Like, her airways seemed very clear. We didn't even suction her mouth, and they were like very clear. Like, remember Mason's weren't very clear. You could hear him like mucus kind of. But she was fine, and she wasn't really crying. She cried a little bit at first, but then once I held her, she just was pretty much silent. And when the paramedics were there, silent.
I kept asking you if she was breathing too.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, she's fine. Like, she was completely fine. She was the cutest thing. It was, I don't know. I enjoyed that experience, and he probably says otherwise, but
no. I like saying that I delivered her.
I know, but the actual experience, like, is that enjoyable for you? Or do you just like it because you could look back and say?
I wouldn't say it's enjoyable. Like, I would rather be at a hospital.
Really?
Yeah.
To me, a hospital doesn't feel as intimate, and I feel like instead of me just listening to my own body and knowing when to push naturally, I hate when people are trying to tell me how I'm feeling and guide my body to do something the unnatural way according to their schedule or what they think, you know? So I just liked being able to be like, she's coming. Like, I knew that she was. I wasn't gonna, you know what I mean? I didn't have to ask anyone or wait for anyone, anything like that. And then I didn't have people taking her from me right after she was born, so it just felt nice to do it that way, and if I had it my way, I'd do it again. And it was just really funny, the coincidence, because that same day I was watching birth vlogs, and I was watching this mom during her whole labor process, and then she was laboring in the bathtub, and then she actually gave birth in my same position that I did, and I remember watching that, and I was like, man, I really wish I could have an at-home birth so I could like experience that, and then also so I could like give birth in that position, because if you think about it, that seems so much easier to push out a baby if you're on your hands and knees rather than laying down, because you have, the gravity's not really working with you. So I don't know, I just thought that was funny that like literally hours later that was my whole situation, and it happened. So I just thought it was cool, and that's all right.
Yeah.
Is that all you have to say?
That's it. I have a mustache because it's No Shave November. I hope you guys participated if you're male.
I don't think a male's gonna watch this unless his wife makes him.
If you're a female, I hope you did not participate.
Okay, we have to leave that part, because what if someone doesn't shave and gets offended?
Okay, say your goodbyes.
You say it, because you're my guest.
No, say
your goodbyes. The guest says goodbye.
Say your goodbyes.
Okay, so that is it for this accidental at-home birth story. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please give this video a thumbs up, share it, and comment, and also subscribe. And when you subscribe, press the bell button so you get notifications every time I post. We'll see you guys in my next video. Bye. But I gave birth in the morning technically, so was it like the 31st? No, it was the 30th. How many days are in January? Or I mean December? 31, right? because the 31st we kind of just hung out at home. Babe, but don't rush it super fast or else it's not going to be good. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So I recently did a poll on my Instagram about what video you guys...
What?
You look like you're in pain.
Alright, come on.
You're like...
Come on.